Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the greatest source of biased information, your most untrustworthy news network, and, I don't know, some dumbass talking head just going over anime news and all that stuff. It's not even the end of the week, and I'm exhausted. I am tired, okay? And it's not exactly been a great week for me. So where to start with that? I don't know, walking plates and running CJs on a bunch of like shaky walls out in the wind and yeah, fun stuff. I don't do heights well. I definitely don't do places where I can fall 20 feet into a concrete pit very well. And aside from that, the cold weather will just do you in. Like it will tire you out. So yeah, there's that. I'm a little bit behind on a lot of things this week. It's like it's all angles, man. It is YouTube, it is work, it is just life in general. This month in and of itself has kind of turned into a fucking shit show. Oh, get over yourself, muffler tape. I have the exact same thing going on, you fucking tool. And here I am still doing these streams. Lame. Anyway, there's a lot to cover tonight. And I'm just now realizing that I had plans to do the whole waifu tier list thing. I got it already and everything, except for I forgot to download all of the images for the series to go over that. I forgot to go and get basically images to actually put on the list. So I may or may not end up going over that tonight. We may end up just doing a bulk edit on the next Crimson News Network 2 weeks from now. Talking about Ecchi watching Valkyrie Drive right now. Why the fuck did you give it a 1 out of 10? This is some decent fights, and even the story is all right. I didn't like it. I didn't fucking care for it. It was just not good, if you ask me. It was so utterly ridiculous and just batshit insane that I couldn't get into it. It's as simple as that. So we are going to open up the absolute fucking shitstorm of a collection of tabs. I don't hate hot lesbians. I just hate the fucking show. And get started. So let's see. Where to start? Let's share screen. Let's do this. Come over here. And hopefully everything's doing okay. Maybe I should check that. Maybe it's just... Okay, it's just the laptop. It looks like we're good. Okay, so let's start with going over manga and anime news and stuff like that. So we will do this, and this will be our first one that we'll talk about. So this was something that was just really fucking weird to me that I thought was worth mentioning. So the first chapter of Kuma to Usagi wa Tomodachi Dewa Irarenai has been translated and scanned. A no NTR rom com between a man who looks like he'd steal your girl, but is actually pure, and a woman who looks like she'd be stolen, but is actually impure. A story. So basically, she's horny as shit, and he's just like a regular nice guy, from what I'm getting out of this. And it's a whole yeah. It's I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's like we're gonna make the whole joke about how it looks like it's an NTR thing, but it's actually not. So I got a notification reminding me that I'm a moderator here. There is a Korean H manhwa that is similar. Interesting. So yeah, it's just something that's just kind of one of the things where I would like put it on the list of like keep my eye on this kind of thing because it's this kind of dumb shit that I usually just like check out and like get a couple of good laughs out of. But there's not too much to say because I haven't necessarily read this, just that I thought the whole concept of it was funny. So there was also this announcement that came somewhat recently. So apparently, Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple, is getting a sequel manga set to debut on March 25th. And now I should be able to. Oh, geez. If I do that, share this tab, quickly come over to this and go through this art. Just look through this article really quick because this one's a shorty. So gets a sequel manga after 11 years. So official acts account for Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple revealed that the sequel manga series Masters arc will debut on Sunday Webry starting on March 25th. The first series ended in September of 2014 after 61 volumes. Whew. It's a long show. I do like the titties on that girl. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's respectable. All right, like that. There's some respectable boobage there. That aside, okay. So the original series ended with a time skip to Kenichi becoming a master. So whether this sequel will explore the post manga or continues a younger Kenichi's journey to becoming a master is left in the air. Crunchyroll licensed the anime in North America. The manga picks up after the TV anime at chapter 145, and the OVA series ends at chapter 196. Crunchyroll describe. Okay, I don't need that. That's all. So, that might be enticing enough for me to get into the series right there. So perhaps I'll do a little bit of checking this shit out because I mean, hot blonde, big titties. What do you know? Moving on. So this is another weird one. To go from a good one to a really fucking weird one. And since we don't have a trailer for this, I really don't know what the fuck is about to go on here. But basically, this anime is getting this manga or series or whatever is getting an anime adaptation. Reincarnated as a fucking hero's rib. What the? Isekai has gone too far. What do you want to turn into when you're reincarnated in another world? A hero's rib. Anime adaptation announced. Apparently, this is supposed to premiere in April of 2026. This is supposed to come out in April this year? What the fuck? An alternate world where one can choose the form in which one is reincarnated. But choices like the Demon King or the hero with cheat skills in a harem are so popular that one would have to wait in line uh, for 1 to 50,000 years. So our protagonist chooses to be reincarnated over and over again in other bizarre forms, such as the rib of a cheating hero in a harem story's happy ending, a hermit crab, or a vegetable. What the fuck? So basically, this is just an isekai story where this dude's constantly getting reincarnated as random fucking bullshit. I don't even know anymore. At this point, I don't even fucking know anymore. Like, who comes up with stuff like this? For real. Who does stuff like this? The manhwa is called Golden Facade, by the way. Thank me later. Okay, so we're gonna move on a little bit and continue down the line. So there are a ton of trailers, including some from some familiar studios. So let's start here. We have Science Saru. So TV anime Jadugar, A Witch in Mongolia, comes in 2026. So because it's Science Saru, you know, I kind of had to at least give it a shot. So we're going to see what this one is about. Right out the gate, the animation style, or at least like the art style and stuff for this, does look does remind me a fair bit of like Ranking of Kings. And I'm not opposed to these sorts of like more artistically designed series. It's definitely got that kind of, I don't know, this one feels like it's got that kind of like Sanda goofy art style going to it. At least in terms of character design. The line work on this one, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it feels like the line work on this one is really like thin, and it looks a little bit different than I would have expected, and that's also probably because of the color palette they're using in the art style. It's just it's weird, but I don't hate it. Is a better way to say it. And there we go. Yeah, again, Science Saru doing stuff like this. It does kind of remind me, at least in certain features of the face and everything, of what we got from Sanda. And I know some people hate that fucking art style, but I didn't necessarily hate the art style. I just thought the story kind of fucking sucked.
広大な大陸を翻弄した一人の魔女の話。
Interesting. I will probably end up checking that one out just for the sake of, you know, it being a thing. But I don't quite know what to think of it outside of just what the art style is presenting to me here. It'll also be interesting because okay, tomato soup, A Witch's Life in Mongolia. Okay, so I guess it's either that's the original series, what this is based on. Interesting enough. But that's not the last trailer, so I'm not going to linger on it for too long. We do have more to go to. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next thing here is it's Shota Aizawa or Eraserhead's backstory, which is going to be taking place here in the near future with My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I feel like we're about it. That's what they're advertising for. If it's February 9th, that kind of checks out. But I mean, this is something that's kind of alluded to. I'm not going to play the trailer because I mean, it's My Hero Academia. We see a lot of this stuff already. There's a lot of stuff in here that isn't necessarily like super revolutionary, but you do get to see that we're dealing with a group of very familiar characters. Anyway, the point is that it looks like they're making this big announcement out of it to talk about what's going to be going on with My Hero Academia Vigilantes next week. It looks like we're going to get a decent bit of Midnight, Epic Mike, Present Mike, not Epic Mike. Fuck. It would be funnier if his name was Epic Mike. Eraserhead, and then of course their dead friend who ended up becoming the portal dude that was working with All for One. Again, this is something they allude to, they kind of talk about in the main series, but they don't actually give you any of the like backstory or breakdown of what happened. They just kind of say something happened and then this guy died. It'll be interesting. I at first I was under the impression that they were going to make this its own thing, that it was just going to be a spinoff, but no, it's just advertisement for the next episode of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. So I only really want to go over it insofar as that. Now, since we're here, and this is the Crimson News Network, we're going to go over some. Isn't that the loud black G&G guy? Yes. So Crimson News Network is now going to be presenting you financial information via anime. So apparently they're making an anime about how to lose money on the stock market. So a TV anime adaptation set for 2026. TV anime FX Warrior Kurumi-chan. It's a story about an FX trading with a touch of danger, brought to you by a sweet, fluffy high school girl in typical anime fashion. So let's see what this bullshit is all about. First of all, what high schooler is out on the fucking stock market? Like when I was in high school, I was more concerned with trying to find a job so I could buy a car, not creating my fucking portfolio. Again, so far, nothing particularly special insofar as this anime has gone. Art style doesn't seem very like impressive. Music isn't all that interesting. Haven't seen anything that's particularly striking about the animation, so.
ちょっと待って、利益どこ行った？失敗した。
Now that's a fucking thumbnail worthy face right there. What the fuck does he know about my financial situation? He don't know shit. And if he wants to say something, he can fucking say it to my face. Little fucking bitch boy. He won't even come in here and tell me that himself. He has to hide behind muffler tape. Okay, so things are getting a little bit out of hand. As they do when you're a fucking retard doing retard shit on the stock market. Seriously, everyone who goes in on all of these like make like 100x, or you can 100x your money in this one play, you're getting fucking swindled, dude. Okay, don't trust that shit.
もうすぐ100万円。もうダメ。見てられない。でも私ならできる。2000万取り返してみせるから。
Again, some of the concepts that they turn into anime just baffle me. Like, we're gonna make a drama about stock trading. Then again, one of my favorite anime from last year was all about geology and mineralogy. So,
FX 戦士くるみちゃん。
so that's coming out this year, apparently. I only had a simulated stock market thing in school to teach us. It was fun in economics class. I didn't do anything like that. Not really interested. I wouldn't blame you, to be entirely honest. With that trailer, it doesn't look like it's particularly anything like super interesting. It just feels like again, someone is like working on like working with like random bullshit and came up with something that's at least, outside of the box is the best way I can say. See, here's the trick. It doesn't matter if it's fake as long as you make money off of it, I'm just saying. All right. We still have more trailers. There are a lot of fucking trailers. So we're gonna keep this rolling. Not gonna linger too long on this. I don't have many more thoughts on that. So here we go with the next one. So this one is Hanaori-san wants to have a fight even if she reincarnates. Anime. So this is going to air in 2026. Reverse isekai reincarnation, where the demon lord and the hero are now together in a modern high school. He as a teacher and she as his student. That's why I run a black market. What the fuck does that mean? Okay. See? I mean, hey, they do it all the time with all of these like fake meat or meat replacement or lab grown stuff. Like, people make bank on fake meat. Even though I've never met a person in my life who actually consumes all of like the vegan meat products. That's not true. Scratch that. I've met one singular person. But the point kind of stands. Anyway, weird reverse isekai. So what's going on here? Not exactly speaking to like high creativity here with this intro. Not necessarily like super creative or anything so far. Can't say I'm particularly taken by the art style either.
まさかあなたもこの世界に転生していたとはね。
誰ですか?
Kind of feels like, what is it? What is that series? Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero or whatever it is. What the fuck? Damn.
そう俺鳴神流星はここではない世界の魔王だったそして
As far as this goes, yeah, I enjoy that series, but I read the manga for it rather than watch it. I've actually been collecting physicals for that one because I enjoy it.
この女俺を倒した勇者だなんでこいつこんな嬉しそうなんだよ今の俺がニートだからか強くなることそれが俺
So basically, he's supposed to be the demon lord and she's the hero. I thought it was the other way
の
around.
生きる理由になっていた
落ちたものよな金持ち美少女モテモテそしてあなたを殺す女よ
母さん警察を
I mean, seems decently entertaining enough so far because, again, like I said, I do enjoy the other series and it does kind of feel like a similar vibe. I'm not necessarily seeing anything in here that screams like the studio is incredibly passionate about what they're making, but it looks like it would be a decent amount of fun to watch.
久しぶりだな我が宿敵勇者お尻がある
勇者ミーティアだよ暗黒の時代が来るわ
I don't know. She seems dumb enough to be entertaining. So, yeah, whatever that comes out, I'll probably give it a couple of episodes at the very least. Especially if it's going to be sometime this year. All right, that brings us to the next one that I've been talking about quite a bit. Because it's, again, another one of those ridiculous premises that I just can't look away from. So this is Petals of Reincarnation, one that basically became an internet like meme because of this part right here. Reincarnated historical figures ranging from Newton to this guy. Like, what the fuck do people think of? Anyway, basically the premise, I believe, of this is that all of these people have been like using their like skills or abilities that they developed in their previous lives to advance their like new reincarnation, everything. So you basically have people like Newton, Einstein, not Eisen, stuff like that, who are all, using their smarts in the modern age to like make something of themselves. And this guy is like, just feels like he's completely average or whatever, and then realizes that, hey, maybe I have the potential to do something with this too.
あるはずだ一つくらい僕だけの才能が
I kind of like a little bit of the artsiness to this right out the gate.
現世でいかに無能だろうと
Well, that certainly does look like a fairly unique art style for this one. Like, that's a little bit of a different look. Sasuga Einstein style. All right, you know what? Hats off for that one. This is interesting because, I mean, it definitely does stand out in terms of just like backgrounds and everything right out the gate. I kind of like that they're being a little bit creative with this one.
前世に才があればそれを我が物として使えるそんなものがあったとしたらお前ならどうする刮目しろ
Interesting.
輪廻の枝は才能を選ばない人類に害をなす前世の才能が引き
I'm guessing that we're looking at Jack the Ripper here because that would make like the most fucking sense. It's like whenever you start getting into these weird like historical ones, it's always Jack the Ripper.
出された場合は迅速に排除に当たるそれが我々偉人の森の活動理念なのだよ
Again, I'm fairly Okay, you know what? Right out the gate, I'm gonna guess that this dude with the fucking apple on his head is Isaac Newton. And if it's not, I'm gonna be fucking shocked. Because that is the most on the nose shit you could possibly pull. Well, if it makes you feel any better, Pol Pot is also in here, and he's got a pretty high kill count. That is definitely Isaac Newton. Oh God. Now I have to watch this. I almost feel like I have to watch this whole thing. Okay, so yeah, that says Newton. Who was this one? This is Einstein? So you have Newton and Einstein as a fucking dynamic duo. This is gonna be ridiculous.
友人が増えるのは大歓迎だ。
怪我した
Florence Nightingale. Interesting.
男と参上とは
Jubei Mitsuyoshi Yagyu. I have no idea who that is, but we have the redhead swords, the redheaded swordswoman. So, when did history get hot?
ふぬけたかと思ったぞ。
投稿するだ。
Hiroshi Funasaka. I don't know who that is, but these are probably like specific Japanese history references that I should expect. So,
輪廻は巡り偉人たちの才能は今によみがえる荒野なら咲くよ花弁
you know what? I'm actually fairly impressed with this trailer. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm fairly impressed with this so far. John Newman. Okay, hold on a second. I feel like I've heard that name before. Okay, so let's see. First member. So he was an American missionary. There's probably more to this guy if they're using him. As a Bohemian-born American prelate to the Catholic Church. Interesting. That is certainly a very interesting choice to pick. Maybe I got the wrong person. Okay, yeah, there, that checks out. Okay, that makes more sense because there are two of them, and one is a missionary and a priest in the Catholic Church, and the other one is a mathematician, and physicist and computer scientist. So now that makes a whole lot more sense when you kind of see the same character surrounded by all of this. Okay, that checks out a whole lot more. Let's see what we got as far as Jubei Mitsuyoshi. Let's okay. So one of the most famous and romanticized samurai of the Japanese feudal era. Okay. I mean, checks out. I'm not going to look too deeply into that. But lots of famous scientists, lots of famous dictators, and lots of famous samurai. So this will get really fucking interesting. I appreciate it. I'm fairly impressed with that one, and I had to do a little bit of an autism there. Anyway, so to move this thing along a little bit, we're going to talk a little bit about some ecchi anime that's going to be coming out here soon. So, actually, this is already a confirmed thing, Pilgrim. The fact that he is in that anime is what made it such a meme in the first place. And if you really want to, fact check, you can literally look up Petals of Reincarnation for that character. And it will come up with all of the imagery you would expect. Again, I said a lot of famous dictators because the ones I know of were Hitler and Pol Pot. All right. But that's beside the point right now. We need to talk about the Busty Teacher, okay? So, Busty Teacher rom-com Yoa Yoa Sensei TV anime trailer. So this is coming out this spring. And it's about a super shy and apparently super stacked high school teacher and her student trying to overcome her awkward shyness with her class. So bring on the big titties, please.
彼女は日和村日和先生。機嫌を損ねれば呪われる。通称
I'm a little concerned that this is how we're starting this out, but okay.
小若は先生と呼ばれるまでになった。でもなんていうか、すごく。弱々しい。
I think the voice actor is going to really make that character if that's the kind of performance they're going for. This seems like it could be entertaining, okay? Oh no. I gotta go back here a little bit. I mean that's telling you a little bit about what's going on with this one. She really does have massive tits. Holy shit. Did this girl just punch a fucking hole in concrete? Okay. So probably standard tsundere character?
こんなことダメ。お姉ちゃんとの約束。人にされて嫌なことはしない。
What the fuck was that? Oh, okay. So now we have the small character. Impressive. Yeah, it's definitely an ecchi anime. So that's coming out this spring. So if you like hot teachers with big tits, this one's the one for you. Animation so far, not particularly impressive, but that's what I would expect out of, like the average ecchi anime from this point in time. They just don't really make them like they used to. Like there aren't a lot of them that they actually care to make decent. So yeah. Anyway, so that's a break from the fucking pain. So we are going to move on into the no, like High School of the Dead. Valkyrie Drive Mermaid can suck shit for all I care. I couldn't possibly care less about that anime. Actually, that's not true. I could definitely care less if there weren't so many fucking titties in that show. It's like that's like the one quality of that show that I guess makes the pain of everything else tolerable. Every time I bring it up, I mention the fucking teacher. Sorry, the school nurse. But if we're going on about it, I mean, Tsukumomo was good. Takamine was good. We'll have to look through all of the other ecchi and stuff. I haven't watched a ton of them. All right. Moving on. So here we have the latest solo leveling clone. And I'm not even kidding when I say that this is a solo leveling clone.
今回の任務は必ず成功させねばならん。その代わり、それに見合う報酬をやろう。
I mean, so far, the animation doesn't look half bad, but I'm trying to figure out whether some of these things are like there are certain things that are obviously being rendered in like 3D CGI software. Others feel like they could be either or.
よくも俺にこんな仕打ちを。大柄大勢。
So basically, so far we've just gotten the first episode of solo leveling. Cool. I still don't give a shit.
チャンスをやろう。できるものなら真の王座についてみろ。どう
いうことだ？俺は過去に戻ってきたってことか。見つけた。
Again, I wasn't kidding about this being a solo leveling clone. This is one of those things where I'm just like, why is it that like all of the manhwa that become really, really popular are ones that just like copy solo leveling? Like, is Korean entertainment basically the inverse version of American entertainment, where a lot of or a lot of the popular stuff sucks because it's shallow and vapid, versus where American entertainment sucks because it tries to be overly complicated and the writers are too stupid for that?
俺の金づる。こいつはな、こうやって使うんだよ。
もしかしてあなたですか？
このままムザムザと。犬じゃ。見捨てたまるか。
I don't know how to feel about this.
2026年7月より放送。
I don't know whether I should be upset or apathetic, honestly. Yeah, I already watched solo leveling. I'm good. It's the clone of solo leveling. I think I've seen this before. Solo leveling from Walmart. Anyway, moving on. We're gonna talk a little bit about This next one, like I said, I have a lot of trailers saved in here because it's been a while. So Food Diary of Miss Maid airs in April of 2026, so it comes out this year. A Food Slice of Life by Susumu Maya, about a maid in training living in Japan for a year who gets to explore tasty Japanese food. So, is it going to do the food part well? Is it going to be an entertaining slice of life? Or is it going to go by the wayside as just another middling culinary anime?
スズメ、落ち着いて聞いてほしいんだが、屋敷が倒壊した。
私はスズメ。英国のお屋敷に使
I mean, early critiques, nothing so far. I mean, I can't really say I'm for or against it just off of this. Like, art style seems fairly similar to a lot of other shows we've gotten, but the real big differentiators for this is going to have to be whether or not it's actually an entertaining show or not.
えるメイドです。
Because again, just being good to look at doesn't necessarily make it a good show.
だけど、諸事情によりお屋敷が倒壊。治るまでの1年間、ここ、日本に滞在することになったのです。一人で大丈夫かな？忘れた。
I'm going to restart that drop on the song there, but I do need to pause it just so I don't get cucked by copyright. So far, I don't think it's shown anything necessarily about food or whatever. It seems to be more so focusing on the slice of life stuff that it's trying to sell here. It's looking quite a bit at the maid stuff. So let's see, what do we got here?
リコッタちゃん？脱ぎなさい。ご主人様もスズメに甘いんだから。
I mean, not bad for character design so far. And I kind of like the archetype, so maybe. I see this kind of eyebrow design quite a bit for characters, and I don't know where they get stuff like that. It's always, it doesn't bother me. It's always just like that's a interesting design for this random feature for a character.
私の名前、小松菜奈。いつも見てきますよね。
That's a dude.
なんだこれ？なんだこれ？台風すごいですね。よかったらおしゃべり付き合ってよ。
I don't know. Maybe this will turn out to be one of those sort of like comfort shows where you just kind of watch it, not expecting much out of it, and you're satisfied with it that way. But I can't particularly say that this looks like one that I'm going to be giving high praises.
不安なこともあるけれど、今はこの生活を楽しみたいと思います。テレビアニメ、メイドさんは食べるだけ。
So not bad, but we can. I don't know. I don't have high expectations for it. Anyway, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 trailers to get through. Oh wait, I think I've already shown this one. So 3. So we're going to keep moving with this, and then hopefully we'll get into some of the articles and stuff. So, Farming Life in Another World Season 2 has been scheduled for April of this year. And now I enjoy this show, and I've been reading the manga for it. So I'm looking forward to what they'll probably be covering in this second season here.
のんびり農業して暮らしたい。俺は念願の異世界農家生活を始めた。みんなで作った。
A whole village of elves all to yourself. It should have been me, not him. It's not fair. It's not fair.
で作った大樹の村の 村長になった。
I wonder how much of we're actually going to see out of all of this. I'm wondering how much they're going to cover this season. So let's see.
澄んだ空に優しい風が幸せを包み込む新たな日々。お待たせしました。
It's a beautiful story by Lou and Tier. Oh, so are they having the voice actor, kind of like the way Konosuba does some of its outros? Are they having the voice actors like actually like perform the opening? That's cool. Probably means it's going to be a pain to ever see it released on any like platform, but good for them.
爆薬です。
まず爆破をやめよう。
I'm sorry, what's going on here? Oh, yeah, the Dragon Girls. Okay.
お話中すみません。
代表のゴードンと言います。
まだ待たせるのか。何をじろ。
Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's the Centaur Girls, all for Rolando. He can have those.
じろ見ている。
代表のイグだ。受け入れ感謝する。
切り株が喋って。その人数だともう一。
All right, so it looks like they're going to do things. Looks like they're going to take things a little bit farther than what I've read so far. Because maybe it's just me. I don't recognize these girls, and I don't recognize the centaurs.
この村が必要な勢いだな。
だったらそ
Or
う。
maybe it's just been so long since I read this section that because I've been going at it very slowly, that I just don't remember that. Because I do remember this part. I'm talking about a second
しましょ
village.
う。新しく村を作るのよ。
おの。のんびり賑やかなこの村がいつもよりワイワイ盛り上がっているのは。移住者が大勢やってくると分かったからだ。
困ったこととかありませんか。
私が彼らの意見をまとめてみます。
I think from what I remember of the manga as compared to the anime, they do rearrange some events, but overall they still maintain a lot of the things that happen. So like there are certain things in here I just don't recognize that perhaps I probably should go check out and see what's going on with.
そう。
ロナーナと申します。
それじゃあ改めて大樹の村にようこそ。
テレビアニメ異世界のんびりの活。
2026年。
Yeah, it's pretty much everything you can expect out of it. So, I mean, I enjoyed this anime for what it is. I don't think it's particularly like impressive in a lot of ways. It's just kind of one of those series that I have a decent bit of fun with because, well, it's solid. It's like a 7 out of 10. Perhaps I need to read a little bit more here to see what the fuck is going on with the rest of it. So, let's move along because there are 2 more trailers that I want to cover. And this one is the interesting one. So, here we go. Let's start a little bit of like actual news coverage now. So, Witch Hat Atelier TV anime has all episodes already completed according to info shared to attendees of the Okinawa Animation Festival. Now this is airing in April, and of course this is by Bug Films, who is notorious for having done Zom 100 dirty because of their production issues that caused them to have to indefinitely delay the last 2 or 3 episodes. So this is something that is interesting. Before we get to that, though, there's also this. There's conflicting animation content from different sources. Like I don't see anyone like necessarily contradicting that. We can go back to this. So anyway, TV anime Witch Hat Atelier by Studio Bug Films as of late January 2026, not completed production. The production, on the contrary, is currently facing various issues while continuously improving animation quality. So there's a conflicting story right there with that. And it doesn't surprise me. That the animation is potentially facing some issues. I guess interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they actually end up going with this one. But I think I've already played this trailer before, but I'm going to go over it again because, or just briefly, because it looks really good.
魔法は世界に溢れていて、なくてはならない便利な奇跡。
Like this anime or this trailer looks fantastic. Like genuinely, there are a lot of good things about this thing. Like this, maybe the wrong.
魔法使いのリード本当に魔法が好きなんだ
Yeah, there's that. I think this is the one.
何を書いた何の魔法を書いた
Like, if they actually go through with doing stuff like this, it will live up to the expectations that people have just based on the manga. So, yeah, I don't think they show much else outside of that. Oh, I guess they do show this. I mean, the character designs look good. The art style looks fantastic. Animation, great. Music and voice acting, all around, it looks like it's a very, very promising anime. The issue is, again, that we're dealing with Bug Studios and their infamous fucky wucky with Zom 100. Anyway, one last trailer, and then we get into some actual anime news. So, Ascendance of a Bookworm, which is coming out this spring, has officially moved over to Wit Studio. And I will say that this trailer looks really, really good as compared to the past couple of seasons.
本が読みたいです。私は自分の命と家族の命を守るために
I mean, there's some art style differences and everything already, but they haven't particularly shown it off yet. The big difference is really in some of the animation that they're doing. Wit Studios does a fantastic job.
印刷業を広めなければならない。ここで失敗するわけにはいかないのだ。
ローゼマイ
This is one of the big ones that I'm looking forward to spring, and this trailer is particularly part of it because I really did enjoy the first, I believe it's 3 seasons that we have out right now. Again, sorry, I'm a little frazzled from work today, and things just aren't sitting in my fucking head right. So, hopefully we'll get a little bit more out of the animations.
ローゼマイン
There we go. So this right here is like one of the things that I would say demonstrates a little bit of the difference that you're going to see in this upcoming season. You can kind of already tell that this is like a step up from the studio that they were working with previously. I kind of like the the music right now.
フェストの新しい産業として広げていきたいと思っている。
君は一体どこでこの世
Even that looks quite a bit different in design from what we had seen previously. And again, I like the way that Wit is kind of doing the animation and everything, the art style.
な教育を受けた。
これが印刷ですか。どうでしょうか。あいつらボロ来てお腹空かせてた。1年前の俺。
It looks good, and like I said, I really enjoyed this, so I'm happy for it.
きっとやり遂げられると信じておりますよ。
気を抜きすぎだこのアホ足元を救われるぞ
以後家族として会うことを禁ずる。
私、失敗するわけにはいかないのです。
Yeah, and there again, we do have a good example of the kind of animation we're getting out of it.
新たな憩いの場をこの地に。
What are they like? This looks like lamination of some kind, or what are they working with here?
みんな元気そうでよかった。
少し派手にやれ。
本好きの下克上、漁師の幼女。
So I'm really excited for that one too. Of all the of all the trailers and stuff that I pulled up here, I would say that like Petals of Reincarnation and Yoa Yoa Sensei and Bookworm are the ones that I like enjoy the most. I mean, obviously there's Witch Hat Atelier, but I've shown that trailer before, and I kind of brought it up because there were the issues of basically what could be going wrong with the production. All right, that takes us through one part of tonight. And I don't know if I'm going to end up running the rest of these, but anyway, we'll see how long it goes. We'll see how things go. We have articles to cover. So while I've been away from the Crimson News Network, Sony's Aniplex has acquired Egg Firm. Now, this happened 2 days ago. This is one of the big things that people have been talking about. So, and this is one of the things that people have been afraid of is Sony continues to just like buy and buy and buy up pieces of the anime industry. And who knows? So, Egg Firm says that the acquisition will not affect business operations. Its president, Nobuhiro Osawa, remains in his position. They say that this deal will work towards the continued development of the anime industry through the mutual collaboration and maximization of their resources. Egg Firm has previously produced with Straight Edge and collaborated with the planning of Aniplex-led productions like Sword Art Online. This is the latest in the consolidation of the anime industry. There's been a lot of stuff like this, as noted by entertainment journalist Murata Taisuke. Depending on the ownership ratio of Studio Bind, which does Mushoku Tensei, and they did Ruri Rocks, a joint venture launched by Egg Firm and White Fox, recently acquired by Alpha Polis. This deal may also leave the popular anime studio as a consolidated subsidiary of Aniplex. Outside of anime production, Egg Firm also operates the online store of JC Staff, with the two companies closely collaborating on Danmachi. So basically, we do have the issue of Sony buying up more and more property within the anime industry. It kind of does not necessarily bode well to me, because there are the problems of just Sony not being a trustworthy company and constantly like pulling their own bullshit the way they have done with Crunchyroll and Funimation and all of that. And the big issue is that because they're an international company that technically I believe is a Japanese company, It's not like there are monopoly laws that can be applied to them and the way that they operate. I'm not a huge fan of Sony, even in spite of the fact that I grew up basically playing PlayStation. The issues that I've had with them is their one, lack of security, two, constantly trying to push for their own online logins on every platform. See the Arrowhead business that happened over Helldivers, where they tried to force people to log into PSN to play Helldivers. And then just their general like buying up and shutting down of sites that I actually enjoyed. I did not ever use Crunchyroll for anything until they bought up Funimation and Right Stuff. Basically, before that, I was watching and buying things through Right Stuff and through Funimation. And then it came to Crunchyroll, and I wasn't particularly happy with how Crunchyroll was doing things, and I just kind of stopped from there. I found my alternatives to that. Since they have taken over, Sony's management of the companies hasn't necessarily been fantastic, and the fact that Crunchyroll has now decided to end their free service, up all of the payments on like Crunchyroll's services, and remove comments. It kind of leaves a not so fun taste in my mouth, as far as Sony just being Sony. But in other news, there are other articles to cover. That one was pretty short. There isn't a whole lot to go over there. It's just kind of some more fucking Sony bullshit. So here we go. My Dress Up Darling production staff on season 3. Currently a complete blank slate, but wants to do it. So they want to finish out the series. They just don't have any plans to right now. So Anime interviewed My Dress Up Darling staff show Someno, season 2 animation producer. Shota Umehara, the season 1 anime producer, season 2 production desk. Rikako Yamamoto, setting production, where the trio discussed the reaction to these and shared behind the scenes details, such as how staff would buy and wear cosplay items to provide reference materials, as well as the production difficulties and approach to making the anime obtained within, or the original anime obtained within the My Dress Up Darling universe. So, for fans of season 2 who are still waiting for a season 3 announcement, Umehara says, the production is a blank state, meaning nothing has been decided or started on. But if all things align, I would like to make another one. I can't make a sloppy anime. I want to express my gratitude to all the viewers. So I believe basically the thing he wants to say here with this statement is that they basically want their team back so they can, do this to the best of their abilities. He later added that he would be grateful if people watched season 2 and bought the original work. As without new viewers and readers, My Dress Up Darling cannot grow. And thanks fans for buying the merch and DVD/Blu-rays. This is part of how they renew or don't renew anime. If there's not enough interest or like sales generated off of the anime, because they are one big advertisement for the source material and for merch, they won't necessarily go out of their way to make more. I think one of the big things about this show was the fact that, or one of the big things that happened here was like they weren't planning on doing a season 2 until basically they found out that it was a very highly in demand thing. So they rolled with it. Identifying that as something special rather than just the natural consequence of making something great. Additionally, while things may always change on this front, Umehara said his production line can currently only make one work per year. He mentioned this in the context of how, through My Dress Up Darling Season 2's use of multiple original anime, many talented team members were able to do character designs who otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity. So this is actually some really interesting information that we've gotten here so far, especially when they start talking about how they actually like went into doing cosplay and stuff. That gives you a bit of an inside look into just how this whole production is going. So maybe this is something that I will check out for a future episode. But again, it's been not so great this week, and I've been super fucking tired. So forgive me if I don't do everything that I had planned tonight. But I did want to get one of these in here because there was a lot of stuff that was building up that I did need to cover. So let's move on to the next thing. And this one is a little bit more my speed because it talks about a series that I really like. So ReZero is hitting the second half in earnest with Arc 10, says creator. Sorry to keep you waiting for so long. Arc 10 is starting. ReZero starting life in another world. The second half in earnest. Let's get fired up more than anyone else. Me. The match attracted a lot of attention and excitement, with Nagatsuki's last update being on November 27th on the web novel platform Shoetsuka ni Naro. For anime-only fans, it can only mean that there is still so much more ReZero to experience. The anime's third season left off on light novel volume 21, web novel arc 5. Time to catch up. So season 4 debuts. We've already seen this. So basically, the big issue that I have with this is that with a lot of these really, really long, I kind of have mixed feelings on this. And that is because with a lot of these really, really long series, it can feel like if you drag things out too long, you end up in a situation kind of like Kentaro Miura, where the author dies and the work goes uncompleted. For ReZero, we're 40 volumes into this story, and he's saying it's only halfway done. And we're not talking manga volumes. We're talking novel volumes. This guy has a lot of ground to cover in his story before this is all done. Holy crap. So again, I don't know how I feel about possibly being, dead and in the grave by the time they're done with that series, but I guess some people just have really, really big plans, And it sounds like One Piece. Oda wanted to end the story 20 years ago. Okay. The next big one is another one that's kind of like the Sony buying Egg Firm. Netflix and MAPPA enter new strategic partnership for global anime development and distribution. So Netflix and animation studio MAPPA have entered a new strategic partnership to co-produce and globally distribute anime projects. The companies announced on January 21st. This move deepens a relationship that began in 2020 and aims to take future collaborations beyond streaming, extending to story development and merchandising with an international focus. MAPPA is known for anime like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Dororo, Zombieland Saga, as well as the latter half of Attack on Titan. And it has earned a reputation for pushing creative and production boundaries. The studio notably self-funded Chainsaw Man, bypassing the traditional production committee system. MAPPA's rapid growth has also drawn scrutiny around working conditions and issues the studio has publicly acknowledged. Netflix, meanwhile, hold on. So the company and the broader anime industry are rethinking work styles, mentorship, and work-life based as production scales globally. Netflix, meanwhile, has already exclusively distributed several Mappa products like Kakegurui Twin, the 2024 reboot of Ranma and a Half, and the 2025 adaptation of The Rose of Versailles. Under this expanded partnership, the companies plan to co-produce multiple anime titles already in progress. These will be distributed exclusively in over 190 countries and territories via Netflix. The problem I have with Netflix getting into anime and stuff like that is, well, their localizations aren't necessarily to die for. So I'm not particularly interested in them like doing more things, especially like we can talk about some of the bad subbing that has gone on with some of the more recent anime that they have picked up. Not necessarily a fan of some of the things they've done, and I've especially not been a fan of a lot of their live action adaptations and stuff. Netflix is not particularly a company that I trust as far as entertainment goes. So, if they're not actually getting their hands on mainline properties that I care, it's not going to be as bad, but it's still kind of concerning that any originals or whatever that would come out of Mappa might end up having some of that Netflix taint on it. So we do have Mappa president. This strengthened partnership reflects our long-held vision of Mappa as a self-reliant studio on both creative and business fronts. Japanese animation studios should lead with global perspective. I disagree. From planning and development to international reach and related business ventures. We're committed to working closely with Netflix to build long-term win-win collaborations. Anyway, as far as this goes, so long as that global perspective is just limited, is not about like trying to make your anime appeal to certain audiences, then sure, fine. I mean, as long as anime remains Japanese, it'll probably remain successful. So Mappa has continuously taken on bold and creative challenges. We want to support that spirit. By combining Mappa's distinctive production and Netflix's global reach, we hope to expand anime's possibilities. We're excited to deliver new stories, fresh expressions, and impactful experiences to audiences worldwide. Who knows how all of this is going to pan out, but again, it's another one of those things where I'm not like super let's just hold on. Can I can bookmark this. There we go. I can do that and share screen. Do that. And now we're ready to continue on. As far as that last article goes, again, Netflix, not necessarily the great. I've had my critiques of some of their subs and localizations and everything. I don't particularly find them to be consistently trustworthy. I would be more concerned if this was talking about Mappa, signing a different deal than this, but it's more so talking about taking on originals and other, like, I don't know, more creative things that they want to do, which I would assume would have to be dealing with, the stuff like Zenshu. That would probably be the kind of thing you're looking at when we're talking about their creative ventures that Netflix wants a part of, or that they're relying on Netflix for. I actually liked Zenshu, but I don't know about any of the other originals. We will see as time goes on. What the fuck is that noise? Okay. So let's about time for my least favorite, or my favorite least favorite thing. Exactly. This is really the point. Can Netflix shut up and let Mappa do their thing? Yeah, that's really going to be the question. And that's again the same kind of doubts that I have, is whether or not Mappa is going to be able to continue to do their own thing, or if Netflix is going to get in the way. So, we're gonna do some free reign discourse now, and this is probably going to be how we end the night. The rest of this stuff, I mean, I got some. I need to talk about that, or that, or that. Don't care. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is just. I'm tired, guys. So we're gonna do the free reign discourse, and then, you know what? I'll just lead with this because this one's funnier. Because why the fuck is Guinness World Records giving out world records for the most in-demand animated TV show of 2025? Like, this is such a fucking like niche here. I like, I'm not gonna hate on My Hero Academia with this, but like, why the fuck is Guinness World Records giving out a record for something like this? This is stupid. This is dumb. Anyway, free reign time. So, we'll just put that on there. Probably losing relevancy, so they just want to jump on the anime bandwagon. That's probably true. Anyway, well, I mean, as far as Guinness World Records goes, yeah, they've been losing relevance ever since people realized that they're just like a collection of like gimmicks that nobody really wants to challenge, like world record for the most eggs eaten while upside down, standing on one hand within 3 minutes. That kind of shit. Okay, so the post starts here. Having a character that defaults to let's kill this thing because of its race is unironically very refreshing in a media landscape of moral ambiguity. So basically, we're kicking off the free reign demon discourse again, and here we have, you know, the obvious racism aside, why is every right-wing post like, I hate when stories are thought-provoking and ask things. I wish they blindly reaffirmed what I believe going in. I wish I could turn my brain off and make fonk edits. The issue is that this isn't exclusive to either the right or the left, this phenomenon. This is exclusive to people who are ideologically captured by whatever it is that they go into the series with, and they aren't willing to actually engage with things and can only see the world through politics. This is the way that the politically minded think. It happens both on the right and on the left. And I hate that this is what the anime has basically become, because whether or not it's racist to deal with the demons the way Frieren does, it's not. And that will be the subject of a video here in the future. And like there's a lot of this Frieren discourse that I do want to go over in a video, but I'm doing some of it here. Anyway, to quickly, you know, talk about the couple of the points here. When it comes to this, no, Frieren is not. We get this. You know, Frieren at its core is a show about how racism is necessary for survival. No, because none of this has anything to do with race. Again, the way they describe demons within the series, it has to do with basically it's convergent evolution. And if people don't understand what that means, it is when two different branches of an evolutionary tree develop similar features. Kind of the way that butterflies and birds both have wings. That is convergent evolution. Similar circumstances promote similar developments. Now, why does this happen? Well, the demons are a form of mimic that evolved to closely imitate humans so that they could prey upon them. And here's another one of the things that a lot of people like to overlook for this is Frieren never like actually calls demons evil in here. They don't actually say that they're evil. They say that they are dangerous. Well, she says that they are dangerous. She never calls them liars. She says that words are a thing that they use to deceive humans. And there's a point there in that it is, motive and all of that. Demons are apex predators who prey on humans. I mean, they quite literally turn into like dust when they die. They just completely dissolve and disappear. So everyone who talks about it like this is some sort of race or whatever, like this is like somehow about a specific group of people, has kind of lost the plot. Because I've said this before on my channel, but like the whole point of the demons is that they're kind of an ideological opponent to ideological counterpoint to what Frieren is, a sort of juxtaposition. And this is the kind of mentality that I've been hoping to get around to dissuading people from taking up, because that's how this whole thing started, with people basically talking about how it's racist to, like not give the demons a chance or whatever. And people have been so sick of this kind of mentality from people that they have taken up this exact kind of sentiment. No, this is the one I want. So this is the next part of this, is basically what's more annoying than left-wing brainworm victims insisting that fictional species of predator sociopaths are stand-ins for non-white humans. Right-wing brainworm victims insisting that a fictional species of predatory sociopaths are stand-ins for non-white humans. And now, again, it's kind of a similar thing that I've talked about with a lot of these comments. Is that people have basically adopted a counterpoint to the first part here, specifically to piss them off, but it's not necessarily a good position to adopt, if you ask me. I think both are wrong and completely miss the entire fucking point of the series when they do shit like that. This whole thing has far less to do with racism and, all of that jazz than it does with any sort of, core part of the series, where it's talking about, one, like I've mentioned, the importance of just ordinary everyday life things. Two, the I guess beauty of temporality, or the just beauty in relation to how like the temporary, how to say this, beauty in relation to temporary things. There we go. That's the words that I'm looking for. That just because something doesn't last doesn't mean that it isn't important. Those are the core parts of this series. It has nothing to do with racism or real world people or anything like that. Just that there is a kind of beauty to things that don't last, that aren't around forever. Of course, that isn't the only criticism that people have of this. The whole racism thing has been one of the big ones, but it's not the only one. And now that the series has returned and is incredibly popular, we do have a bunch of contrarians coming out to sort of talk about how actually Frieren isn't a good series. I usually don't comment on ongoing discourse, but Frieren's renown has always baffled me, as it's one of the most aggressively mediocre anime I've ever seen. Flat characters that are defined more by their quirks than any meaningful characterization, theming that is the equivalent of someone screaming the thesis of the story to you over and over again, and world building that doesn't even do the bare minimum to set itself apart from other thousands of Tolkien-esque fantastical medieval Europe copycats. Its only saving grace is its production, still not without its faults, but underneath all the glitter is pure unadulterated mediocrity. I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. As far as flat characters that are defined more by their quirks than any meaningful characterization. Again, Frierin's a series with a theme that runs throughout the whole thing that explains a lot of the choices that are made with the show. And I would disagree with the flat characters who are defined by their quirks. That's usually how you get fucking shonen characters. I don't know where you get the equivalent of someone screaming the thesis of the story to you over and over again, because a lot of people, again, tend to fucking miss that whole point. And it is very, very well written, one that is put together that carries a very universal sentiment that I feel like a lot of people need to pay more attention to. But who am I to talk, you know? Again, there are other criticisms, so I will spare you the long read of this entire thread. Basically, this dude is saying that the power scaling in Frieren is bad, and that Frieren fans are brain dead because Stark shouldn't be able to be a dragon. Yes, I agree. A lot of those criticisms do come off as someone who was in it to hate it from the beginning. So, yeah, and this is another one of those ridiculous things where you're basically you're applying real world standards to a fictional setting, where this guy is trying to say that Stark, who was trained by one of the members of the Heroes Party, who acknowledged that Stark was stronger than him, defeats a monster in a head-on fight. The whole point of this is that Stark is far stronger than even he thinks he is. And the only thing that holds him back is that he is a coward. And yet, when push comes to shove, Stark really will hold his own in a fight. He got that fucking dog in him. This isn't a power balancing thing at all, because it has to do with basically the dumb strength of an animal versus someone who knows how to use a weapon. And it also kind of blatantly ignores a lot of the powers that be within the world. Again, I feel like people almost like purposely miss the point and just come at it with this sense of, I want to hate it and don't have legitimate criticisms of it that aren't incredibly nitpicky and dumb like this. Oh, but my friends, it only gets worse. It only gets worse. How about we talk about if you like Frieren, you are a PDF not so good guy who should be locked in a prison cell until the end of civilization. Apparently, you are the worst kind of horrible human being if you like adult women who are short. Let's see if there are any, sane replies to, or any sane quotes. Oops. Why can't I view the quotes? Okay, they changed it. Cool. There we go, right out the bat. Like they're porn categories and can't help but use fake empathetic tone when they're mostly about them and their tastes. I should be legally allowed to buy and sell you. What the fuck? There should be way more quotes than that. Again, we're out here talking about, you know, the height of consent and stuff like that when it comes to fictional characters. We're sitting here complaining that the 1,000-year-old liking the 1,000-year-old elf makes you a exactly. They said the same stuff about Momo, about Uzaki, about Hana Uzaki. And about Shark Teeth, but I'm not going to cover that one tonight. Now let's continue. We have a fucking Game of Thrones fan talking about how he doesn't like Frieren. So here we go. This fucking retard. One way I think Frieren could have done something more interesting with its premise was if Himmel was a more flawed gray character, and the idealized picture of him we see in Frieren's memories was a distortion showing how the passage of time leaves only the most positive memories. The show isn't about that. Again, the show is about an appreciation for ordinary things. Instead, we get these constant reiterations of the exact same... apparently short women aren't allowed to have adult relationships. Exactly. We get the exact same, or we get these constant reiterations of the exact same idea with each Himmel flashback just showing Himmel being the sweetest, most romantic guy ever, so the audience can go, oh, why didn't they get together every episode? It's overdone and it starts to feel very artificial. It's just not all that interesting way to deal with a premise of the passage of time and the unique perspective of someone who perceives time and human experience as a kind of outsider. The story seems more interested in the idea of a perfect romance that never got to be. Again, this proves that you missed the fucking point. Like I said, the story is not about the passage of time or about someone who perceives time differently. Not necessarily. It is about appreciating ordinary and temporary things while they are there. Because the things that you take for granted are far more important than you give them credit for. That's the point of Frieren. Oh yeah, I forgot we have this. We'll tab over to this one. So looks like I activated the Palantir neural chip in every rightoid on this app by using the phrase flawed/gray. Now they're crying about the collapse of Western civilization because stories can't be good versus evil anymore, when that wasn't even close to what I was trying to say. And again, this is because you have a flawed understanding of character and what it means to be flawed. Or you have a child's understanding of character and what it means to be flawed. Everyone is flawed. The bravest, most heroic person you can think of is flawed. The problem is that dimwits like you are only able to understand this through ham-fisted GRRM caricatures. And this is one of the more infuriating critiques I've seen of it is just like, you have not added anything worthwhile to this conversation. And of course, I would expect nothing less of someone who says they are passionate about communism in their fucking bio. I don't particularly see communists as being smart people. So yeah, of course, as Frieren has come back around, the criticism has started. A lot of people have started talking about how it's actually not that great, about how like basically the whole contrarian thing of a popular show coming back around, you know. You have all of these retarded these retarded critics coming out here and acting like they have some big thing to say, and ironic coming from a guy who's an anime critic. But they aren't actually adding anything valuable to the conversation. They're not actually saying anything that could like genuinely like relate to what the core theme of the series is. All right. So it didn't go quite as long as I thought it would, but that's because I dropped a couple of topics while we were, sitting here. Now, I would have liked to get, like I said earlier in the stream, I would have liked to get to the tier list tonight. I had planned to do Chainsaw Man characters and One Punch Man characters because the thought suddenly hit me that I hadn't added Fubuki's tits to this or Tatsumaki's thighs. But I forgot to go through. I actually ended up not having the time to go through and get all of the images that I would need to do those series. I actually didn't get any of the images. I got the tier list set up. I started going through topics, and it took me 45 minutes to go through all of my topics, organize my notes, get everything ready to go. And at this point, I'm a little bit just burnt out for the night. I kind of want to retire and just be done. So I know it's going to be a little bit disappointing, but I'm not going to do the tier list this week because I don't want to sit here for 20 minutes in silence doing nothing because I just know how it's going to be while I'm looking for images. I'm not going to be talking. I'm going to be sitting here quiet doing nothing. But to make up for it, we'll do this on Saturday. So Saturday comes around before we start doing anime coverage and all of that. We will make it up by covering both those series and a few more on animated. So the waifu tier list will still happen this week. It's just going to have to be moved to Saturday because I can't do it right now. I'm zonked out. I fucked up. This is my mistake. If you guys have any suggestions as far as what anime I should put on there, I mean, I don't necessarily have, it would have to be something I'd watch, which makes things complicated. But basically, we'll do this Saturday. We'll go over it Saturday. I'll add my additions then and there, and that'll be that. I wanted to start on time and get things ready because I already had to delay the start of this stream because of work and other things. And I'm out of energy for the night. So things are going to be basically as per usual. Friday there will be, the Grimgar video, and then we will have Saturday animated, all that kind of stuff. Next week is going to be the Ecchi stream, and I have a full weekend of stuff to catch up on. I have a lot of things I'm going to have to go over before Wednesday. Ugh, I'm going to be exhausted here. We'll manage. We'll work it out. I hope you guys. Thank you all for tuning in. To everyone who was in chat, listening to this, I appreciate it. So it's going to basically be just a general topic, but I believe you were in the Discord while we were talking about it, but we showed some newbies, Nukitashi, we showed a newbie, Nukitashi, and then we have them on 2 other series that I would like them to complete. So there's basically just to get them sort of through the door with a range of it. Godanner, High School of the Dead, Nukitashi, those are the ones we talked about watching for the stream, which is a lot in this week. And then there's basically just going to be talking about various other like ecchi manga and anime and stuff like that. So there were only a couple of topics, a couple of things that I definitively wanted people to watch. Everything else is just kind of going to be a general discussion about the stuff. So that's what's going to be going on next Wednesday. Anyway, you all have a good night. I'm signing off. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate the interaction and the viewership. Hopefully next week's stream is next Crimson News Network is a little bit better because I fucked up on this one and that's my fault. So have a good night, everyone.